Hi everyone, in today's video I want to show you how I made this simple card using just a stamp set, ink and some cardstock. So by the time you see this video, our new 2021 to 2023 in colours will have launched, and the in colours last for 2 years, and these are always in addition to our regular colour families that Stampin' Up do across the board with all their stamps, paper, card, etc. And those colour families are your subtles, neutrals, regals and brights, and there's 10 colours in each family. And then every year they bring out a set of 5 in colours that last for 2 years. And there's always 2 sets of in colours that kind of overlap a year on year, if that makes sense. We have a set of in colours at the moment, which will be retiring next year. And these are the ones that have launched this year in 2021 and will go to 2023. Just to tell you briefly, we've got pale papaya, which is kind of like a pale peach. We've got polished pink, fresh freesia, evening evergreen and soft succulent. These colours are nothing like any of the other colours at all that we've got. On first glance, if you look at polished pink, you may think it's a bit like Magenta Madness, but when you get the 2 sets of cardstock together, they're nothing alike at all. So as I say, these new colours sit within our subtles, brights and regals, but they're not the same as anything that we do currently. So for this particular card, I've started off with a piece of A4 white cardstock. This is our thick basic white cardstock, which I've cut in half on the short side, scored to give me a top opening card. I've used the polished pink as a matting layer. I've used polished pink on the ink, and then the 2 greens, I'm not sure how well you're going to see them. I've used both evening evergreen, which is the dark green, and I've used soft succulent, which is the pale green. So everything on this card is from this one stamp set. The stamp set's called Forever Fern. It says, "You can do this. Hello, love and laughter forever after. To a friend that makes me smile." And then it's got all these leaf designs and it's got the little splatters. It's our red rubber cling stamp, and there's 11 stamps within the set. Now this set was in our catalogue, which has just retired in May 2021, but it's carried over into our new current annual catalogue, which launched on the 4th of May 2021, and this catalogue runs through until May 2nd 2022. I thought that I would show you how to create this card, but I'm going to use a different colourway, so just put that on one side for now. So again, I've got a basic white thick cardstock, A4, cut down the middle on the short side, so on the 8 1/4 side, scored in half, and that's going to be my base. I've got a piece of the pale papaya cardstock. This measures 5.5 by 3 7/8, and that's going to layer up on the front of the card. I've got another piece of our basic white. This is just the regular, so slightly lighter weight than the thick, which I'm using for the actual base of my card. This has been cut to 5 1/4 by 3.5. That's going to layer up there. I've got another piece of white card that's just 1 inch wide and a bit longer than I need at the moment, but I'm going to cut it down. A piece of pale papaya. This is 1 1/4 inches, again longer than I need, but I'm going to cut it down. I've already stamped one of the leaves. Now for the pink card here, I used this leaf here and this. For the pale papaya card, I'm going to use this leaf and this same small leaf. I've already stamped and cut one out, and that's just going to be for a little bit of extra decoration. So I'm just going to put these elements on one side for now, and all as I need for now is the white piece of card. So I'll show you how I created this card. So this is really simple. Anybody can do this because there's no lining up, there's no measurements, nothing involved. You just need to have your piece of card and a bit of post-it note. So now I've got 2 bits of post-it note here, which I took 2 pieces. I'll just stick them back on top of each other. I peeled off 2 sheets of post-it note from my pad, which I think is a 3x3 pad. And I put this in my trimmer with the sticky side on the left, and I cut this at 1 inch, and then I separated them. And then I'm using my grid paper, but you could use anything or just put a ruler down and line it up against a ruler so you get it nice and level. And then I went just slightly above center. So using the grid marks on my grid, I'm just going to put the post-it note so it sticks on my grid and then onto this piece of white card. I'm going to bring the other one in, overlap it, and again, just make sure that it's nice and level with the other piece and that it's stuck onto my grid. And because I'm overlapping the piece of white card, this is going to anchor this down for me so that when I start stamping, it's not going to move. So I'm going to bring in a couple of blocks and get the stamps that I'm going to use. So I'm going to use this one and one of the smaller leaves, and I'm going to start with the pale papaya. Okay, so I'm just zooming in a little bit so you can see. So all I'm going to do with this is ink it up in the pale papaya. Just going to stamp it off on my scrap paper just to see how it's looking and to make sure that it's inking up okay. So now I'm just going to start stamping. So I'm going to stamp so that the bottom half of the leaf comes on to this scrap piece here, because then I'm going to peel that way and that's going to leave me the gap in the middle. So I'm just going to stamp and stamp so I go off the page, and then I'm going to move it ever so slightly down and stamp again without inking it, just so it's paler. And then I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to stamp. I've got a little bit of overstamp in there, but it'll probably be okay because I can probably disguise it with I'm just going to stamp off and then stamp, and then I'm going to do the same. So I'm just going to keep inking it up. I'm going to stamp full strength but kind of on and off the card, and then just move it up a little bit, but so that the tail of the stamp still stays on the post-it note, because I obviously don't want that to overlap up there. And then just ink up again and do the same just to kind of fill in the gaps. I'm just going to put that on one side. I may use that colour again in a minute. So now I'm going to bring in the Evening Evergreen, which is the darkest of the 2 new greens, and my little leaf. I'm going to ink this up, just stamp it on my scrap again to make sure it's stamping okay. Ink it up and then kind of fill in with the gaps. Again, you want to make sure that when you're stamping this way up, that the bottom half of your stamp is staying on this scrap. Okay, I think that will do for now. So I'll put that on one side. And then I'm going to bring in the Soft Succulent, which is the palest of the 2 new greens. I'm just going to clean this stamp because I'll use this block for the little dots. And then I'm just going to ink up the dots. Again, just make sure that they're inking okay. Just fill in. And these are not going to be perfect. They're not going to be identical, but they'll all look very similar. I'm just going to put that one on the side as well. So now that's everything I need for now. So I'm going to peel this off and peel away the post-it note, just making sure I don't get any ink or anything on my fingers. I'm going to bring in my matting layer. Now what you could do, you could mat this and you could just stamp your greeting in here and add your extra stamped image that you've cut out and leave it like that. But I wanted to just add a little bit more of the cardstock in. So I'm going to put some adhesive on the back of this and layer this onto this piece of card. I'm just trying to sit it centrally. Okay, so I've got that. So now I'm going to bring in the white piece, the one that's 1 inch wide, and I'm going to get the greeting, "You can do this." And I'm going to do this in the pale papaya. So I'll just bring the ink back in. And when they use stamps, I always like to kind of stamp them on a piece of scrap just to make sure that, they're inking up okay and that kind of thing. So again, I'm just going to use my grid to just kind of line my piece of card up. It's not, it doesn't have to be perfect, but as best you can get it. And then I'm going to stamp it kind of over to the right-hand side, but try and get it as centrally as I can. So that's what we've got now. So now I can layer these two up, and I'm just going to centralize it, but put it right to the end. So I'm not leaving any border on the right or the left, just on the top and the bottom. So that's going to go like that. So that's going to sit on here now. So on the pink one, I think I stuck the coloured layer flat and I popped the white layer up. But being as I've stuck it down, I'll do it this way. So I'll just pop this layer up instead and have the other flat. I'm going to bring this in, line this up so it covers the gap, and line it up as straight as I can from edge to edge, like so. Then I'm just going to bring in my scissors, trim this down, bring in my base card, and that's ready to go on there. And this I did put flat on the card. So now I'm going to bring in my leaf, and I'm just going to put a dimensional just on here and position the leaf like so. So that's the front of the card. And then for the inside, I used on the pink card, I used one of the leaves that I'd done on the front and one of the other greetings. So I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to bring this leaf back in, ink it up in the pale papaya. I'm going to stamp it off and then stamp it again without inking so it's pale. And then I'm just going to get the other greeting, line this up, ink it up. Again, let's just see that it's inking okay. And then I'm going to kind of half ink over the leaf and half on the inside of the card. And because I'm using the full strength ink on top of the second generation, you can see it a bit better. So I'm just going to close that ink pad before I put my fingers in it. So all as it needs now is a little bit of bling. To bring in my take your pick tool, just see I put one over the dot on the eye and then just a couple of others kind of scattered randomly. So this is the one that I'd already made using the polished pink, evening evergreen, soft succulent, and this leaf and this leaf. And here's the one I've just done with you today in the pale papaya, evening evergreen, and soft succulent using this leaf and this leaf. Both cards have got the same greeting on the front, which is "You can do this." And both cards have got one of the leaves that I used in the card, plus the "To a Dear Friend That Makes Me Smile" on the inside. And then a few of the little scattered in colour jewels on the front. So that's literally one stamp set. Everything that was used is from within this stamp set, just some ink and some card. So I hope you like that project. I hope you'll give it a go. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Please don't forget to subscribe if you don't already do so. I am trying to get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of 2021. I don't know whether it will happen, but as I say, YouTube keep telling me that about 40% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. So if you would please subscribe, you don't get mithered, it doesn't cost you anything. It just helps YouTube know that people like this channel and that more people might want to see videos that I put out relating to the topics I post. So thank you very much, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.